Hello and welcome to CIO News. I am Khushbu Soni, your host for the broadcast and chief editor at CIO News. This is our exclusive interview series on the topic of Voice of CIO with our CIOs in the world. This is a recorded session and will be available on our website, that is cionews.co.in, and our CIO News LinkedIn handle. It gives me an immense pleasure in introducing our guest for today. He's Mr. Arup Chaudhary, the Chief Information Officer at Eveready Industries India Limited. Arup has 25 years plus of rich experience working for brands such as Eveready Industries, Lafarge, and has implemented solutions in the areas of supply chain, ERP, in the solution areas like JD Edwards, Oracle Business Suite. He's developed a lot of digital transformation strategies for the organizations that he's worked. He's a skilled professional in the manufacturing space since 2 decades. Arup, it's an absolute pleasure to have you today.
Thank you. The pleasure is all mine.
Wonderful. So, before we begin with my questions, I wanted to put across the first question to you, Arup, to understand, what does your typical day look like being a CIO of such a large manufacturing organizations? What your typical day looks like every day?
Well, the day looks like, how we can continuously improve on our processes, our customer satisfactions, acquire new customers, get new businesses in, and also ultimately the aim is to grow the top line and the bottom line.
Right.
So every day starts off with how we can do that and in what time frame.
Right.
So that's how it starts.
Awesome. Now moving forward, Arup, I wanted to talk about digital technologies. So I wanted to understand what are the digital technologies which you plan to implement in your company Eveready, post the pandemic, and what are the typical challenges that usually arises when driving digital transformation? How do you usually overcome them?
Okay, so some of the technologies are already in place.
Yeah.
Especially during the pandemic, we had to do a lot of infra upgrades,
right,
so that people could work from anywhere. So office could be from any location that is possible. And so along with that infra upgrade, we also had to do something in the customer facing front, because the number of touch points in the actual field work was reducing because of the COVID restrictions.
right.
And therefore we had to constantly keep in touch with customers, and that is where we went ahead and implemented the Salesforce automation and the dealer management systems, so that dealers could constantly interact irrespective of the SOs or the TSIs visiting them or not.
Right.
So this is one thing that is already in place. There are analytical tools which are in place to analyze the data that is coming out of digital transformation, because as you are aware, digital transformation will throw up a lot of data,
Right.
and from multiple sources. And so to manage them in a proper manner and to clean them and to have insights into them is a big challenge. And that is where we had to implement data lakes and create and get analytical tools over it to try and analyze that data. Going forward, we are also looking at digital transformation in the digital marketing area.
Okay.
Where just one sec, please.
Sure.
Hello. Ask them to wait. I'll call them. Yeah. So in the digital marketing space, we would like to manage the digital assets that is being created by the marketing team, and try and reuse those assets whichever are successful. Like, for example, campaign managements.
Yeah.
So certain campaigns would be successful in certain geographic areas, some would fail.
Correct.
So we would like to put them in a digital database, a marketing digital assets database, and try and see what went right and what went wrong, and try and reuse them in a proper way. So
Correct.
that is how we need to go forward.
Right.
Similarly, in the augmented reality and virtual reality space, that is one area that we are looking at in terms of our new businesses. Because in battery and torch, it's more or less a stable kind of a business, but lighting is one area and appliances is another area where we are relatively new, and we have a lot of catch up to do.
Right.
So for doing that catch up, we would like to implement solutions through this augmented reality platforms to give customers a real-time feel in a virtual world of how the solutions that we provide in professional lighting as well as in domestic lighting looks like.
Right.
These are some of the main initiatives that are there in the digital transformation space as of this point in time.
Awesome, awesome. My next question is, how helpful has RPA, robotic process automation, been and can be utilized in the production space of batteries or other electrical or lighting appliances?
Yeah, so RPA is a very important tool, because if you see our battery manufacturing process, it is more or less repetitive in nature.
Right.
So it's you have a line, it's either 600 cells per minute or 400 cells per minute. That is how it is produced. So once you streamline your upstream and downstream manufacturing process, so this is what you get as an end result.
Correct.
So if you have interventions, the human interventions at each point in time, the chances of errors increases.
Correct.
And the chances of what should I say? I mean, the chances of faulty things getting manufactured increases. So that is where
Right.
RPA comes in, where you just automate the process. You feed in the right sort of parameters that you need to measure.
Yeah.
And then based on that, RPA can give you proper results.
Right.
So that reduces your wastage in a great way. That increases efficiency. The production efficiency that is around 75% would go up to maybe 85-90% with robotic process automation.
Right.
Similarly, it also predicts the kind of downtime, the breakdowns that you're going to have based on certain parameters. And it's a constantly learning process. So you are constantly feeding data, and the AI that is built into the RPA process actually analyzes that data and tells you, well, this is where the breakdown can happen. So your engineering team can proactively manage that, so that your machine downtime also reduces.
Correct.
These are areas where RPA can help a lot in the production process.
Awesome, awesome. And how would you measure the return with RPA? The ROI with RPA being implemented in the production process.
So three things here. One is obviously, first of all, the improve in production efficiency. That is one thing that would definitely go up, and that can easily be measured. Second thing is the kind of quality checks that we will have. It will reduce wastage is number one, and it will reduce faulty equipments is number two. Faulty end products is number two. So that can be also measured. Third thing is that you can reduce manpower from the production lines.
Right.
With RPA being in place, the number of people can be easily reduced from the main production lines in some other space, where it is more important.
Right.
So these are the areas where ROI is going to come out from the robotic process automation.
Got it. Awesome. Awesome. And how can organizations in the same industry link automation to their corporate transformation goals? Your expertise on that.
Yeah. So the corporate transformation goals would again be top line and bottom line ultimately.
Right.
So all with growing top line and bottom line, which means you are entering new channels, you are entering new markets, you are entering new businesses, new lines of businesses. Along with that, you have to keep one thing in mind, that only growing the top line is not going to work. You also have to constantly monitor the kind of cost control that you are going to do.
Yeah.
So controlling cost becomes sacrosanct with growth.
Yeah.
Okay. So therefore, this is where the main objective of the company, which is to ultimately increase the shareholder value at the end of the day,
Yeah.
would also have to manage costs.
Correct.
And exactly where the production process and the RPA in the production process can actually be linked to
Correct.
cost reduction in this particular area.
Sure, sure. So I'm okay if you would want to take that.
Yeah. Hello. ঠিক আছে দিচ্ছি।
No worries at all. I'll get all this in the editing done, so don't worry. Okay, so moving on the next question. So what are the areas of opportunity in RPA that exist beyond immediate problem solving?
Okay, so one area that we have identified in RPA is actually automating the processes.
Okay.
You know, like for example, procure to pay is a process.
Right.
So from the time the purchase order is raised to the time the invoice comes in from the supplier and the payment is done. Now, currently it is in a distributed manner. So different locations paying from different places for different suppliers.
Yeah.
At the same time, there are also suppliers who are centralized,
Right.
who are being paid centrally. Now you have a pool of resources who are actually doing this entire process from different places. Some of them are electronic invoices, some of them are sent physically, and it becomes very difficult to keep track of that. So
Right.
RPA is one thing that can help in this, where you automate the entire procure to pay process through robotic process automation itself, and starting from the supplier, getting the supplier invoices, to making the payments, to doing the bank reco after the bank statement comes in. This entire process can be streamlined through RPA, and you reduce manpower, and you also increase the efficiency of the process.
Correct.
This is one area where I see RPA playing a major role other than production.
Awesome. So wonderful insights. I think these are some of the very good key takeaways. Before we end, I have one last question. So any other best practices or any do's and don'ts that you can recommend for our fellow CIOs or all our viewers of this episode?
Okay, so what I would like to say is, these are cost intensive investments that we are talking about.
Correct.
And obviously, once you go up to the CFO and ask for money, the first thing they will say is that where is the ROI?
Yeah.
So ultimately, ROI will come, but my advice to the group would be that you try and first get the low-hanging fruits.
Yeah.
So you try and invest in areas where you know that something is going to come immediately.
Correct.
Within maybe 3 months to 6 months, you will get results.
Correct.
Once you can convince the management that, well, this is something that is giving results, more investment is going to come in.
Correct.
Okay.
Correct.
And this is a continuous process. So this is going to continuously go on. Innovation has always been a continuous process. You can't just stop.
Correct.
And so therefore, this is one advice that I would like to give, that you should first aim for the low-hanging fruits, give the results to the management, automatically funds will come. Don't worry about it.
Absolutely correct. Great. Experience talk. So wonderful insights, and thank you once again for taking out time, Arup, and joining us for this episode of Voice of CIO.
Thank you. Pleasure is all mine.
Great.